Hello, welcome to the podcast, Human Rights in America, a Revolutionary Mindset. I am your host, Sue Young. Welcome to another episode of Human Rights in America, a Revolutionary Mindset. I'll begin quotes. Our ability to reach unity and diversity will be the beauty and the test of our civilization. Because diversity is the mix and inclusion is making the mix work. Andres Tapia. You're probably wondering, DEI again. Well, like they say, learning comes from hearing and hearing. Repetition. So let's review it and repeat some more interesting facts about DEI. Let's start with the definition. As a review, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a collective thought recognizing and valuing differences among people, including people from a variety of backgrounds, such as race, gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity, and more. Equity means ensuring that everyone has fair access to opportunities and resources. It also aids in identifying and removing barriers that prevent some groups from participating fully. Inclusion. Inclusion is the commitment to allocate resources to groups that have been historically disadvantaged. It involves creating a culture where everyone feels welcomed and respected. Ensuring that everyone's voice is heard. We don't want a man asking in a room to take notes of business meetings happening. Equity is ordering phone equipment that includes the volume controls for someone with a hearing disability or accommodating further if they need it. I talked about some of this during my interview with my cousin Carolyn in episode 16. Go back and listen to it if you missed it. It's a good one. For this episode, I will stress the critical importance of DEI as a fundamental human right and its impact on society. Learning comes from hearing and hearing things over and over again. So here's to learning. DEI is imperative to human rights because it actively works to ensure everyone, regardless of their background or identity, has equal access to opportunities and that they're treated with respect. Fundamental human right. DEI, done right, promotes and results in diverse perspectives and actively addresses systemic inequalities. DEI human rights help to dismantle past discrimination and create a society where everyone can fully realize their potential. When I say DEI, I know it's like I hear a collective sigh. The chorus people saying, why this again? Why now? Because the major corporations have decided to pull back. Corporations Google, Walmart, the FBI, to name a few, are pulling back support, so why should we hear any more about it? Well, that's exactly why you heard more about it. It's because those important corporations are pulling back and defunding DEI. So we'll look at DEI and the stats. What is it that we learned? And why do corporations so comfortable defunding and publicly acknowledging the withdrawal of their DEI programs? Let's dive into this. A recent survey from the Labor Department listed the groups of individuals that have benefited from DEI initiatives. They are as follows: white women, 2 Hispanic Americans, 3 Asian Americans, 4 Native Americans, 5 people with disabilities, 6 veterans, 7 LGBTQ plus communities, lastly, 8 Black Americans. Now remember this list. Other groups include family who need in vitro fertilization insurance. DEI initiatives did not harm but helped white men. So, what started the anti-DEI movement? I don't know. I don't know. So let's look at DEI again. Diversity, different backgrounds and perspectives, equity, fair treatment and access. Inclusion, creating environments where people feel respected, accepted, and valued. Sounds like good stuff, or at least the right stuff for now. DEI principles align with universal individual deserves equal treatment and opportunities. Many countries have laws against discrimination. DEI is an effective means to achieving that end. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was established in 1948, shortly after the United Nations was formed. Few of the UN directives are to promote better living standards, social progress, and human rights. The 30 articles in the Declaration establish individual rights, economic, social, and cultural rights, things such as health care. Look for yourself, or better yet, go back to my earlier episodes and listen to them again. I read every article of that declaration verbatim. There are things that you need to know for yourself. The purpose for this podcast will become clearer as we go through the next few years with this administration. I don't want to be political, but I have to say, I'm for DEI anyway. Struggles for diversity include women's fight to vote in this country in the early 1900s, civil rights movements for blacks in America in the 1960s, but really ever since slaves were free. An ongoing LGBTQ fight for their rights, which are always under attack. We can't afford to sit back in any perceived privileged position because we're tired, frustrated, or mad, while many are under attack and their freedoms are threatened. Remember when they came for the Muslims after 9/11? As many have said, no one can be free until all are free. Lessons from history. Learning from the past injustices. I saw a post on LinkedIn celebrating Rosa Parks in her defiance for sitting down. Her single act fueled a movement that would change our country forever. This is Black History Month. I remember when I couldn't wait to post and post and post Black History Facts over and over again in the month of February. But then I was like, you know what? Black history is American history. But because efforts exist to diminish, leave out, exclude, or contributions to this great country, average Americans are the losers. They don't know their own history. Black and white and other ethnic Americans don't learn American history. I remember in high school, we had the option of American history, and as an elective, we could take Black history. Wow, I would say, looking back, the school districts had that wrong because we bred a generation of students who only knew Blacks as slaves and thought Black heroes consisted only of Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King Jr., and Harriet Tubman. Am I right? What did you learn? Drop me a line at hrnamerica@gmail.com and let me know. So I've come to a conclusion. Instead of celebrating this February as a symbolic gesture expected of me, a Black American, I take this time to remind you that Black history is a blatant standard of the fight for human rights in this country. through the historical boycotts, picket lines, marches, and the resilience of life. Just life. And contributions, achievement in all industries, science, medicine, agriculture, and business. So no matter what people tell you, words and ideals can change the world. Robin Williams. The telling of our collective history is human right. It allows each of us to grow, pursue life, liberty, and happiness. If taught and preserved properly, all will learn from the past instead of being burdened to repeat it. As Cass Cooper expresses in his CRN article, Black American Labor, From Tokenism to True Equity, the reason true equity in the workplace is still a challenge is because inclusion efforts fail to go beyond the surface and delete much needed understanding of history. Diversity alone isn't enough without real efforts to ensure inclusion and equity. Choosing tokenism instead of sustainable change happens when companies hire or promote a few underrepresented individuals to check a box without giving them the resources or support they need to thrive. In other words, it's almost like simple affirmative action, meaning you just hire someone, even if it's merit-based, because of the box they could fill. And what do we do now? Teach. DEI includes members from all underrepresented groups. So, when the term DEI is aimed at Black Americans, Black women, or women in general, it's just code for racist language. What are the benefits of DEI in any setting? We know that diverse teams are more innovative, bringing different ideas and solutions to the table. Market competitiveness. We know, and studies have shown, that companies embracing DEI perform better financially and are more appealing to a diverse customer base. With companies like Walmart, Boeing, Google, Meta, McDonald's, and the FBI all say that they're defunding their DEI efforts. What does that mean? Or are they agreeing that DEI programs are demeaning and dangerous? But if inclusive workplaces lead to higher employee morale and lower turnover rates, fostering a positive organizational culture, what's with the anti-DEI movement? What's really going on? What's going to happen when companies no longer care about employee morale? Who will carry the ethical responsibility of organizations to promote? We've been here before. The time before affirmative action, the time before labor laws were constructed to combat discrimination. In other words, we're repeating our past. That's sobering, isn't it? In closing, if DEI initiatives enhance human rights, what does it mean when corporations walk away from their DEI programs? Are they walking away from human too? I previously discussed Project 2025 and human rights. See my earlier episode. If you believe in learning from diverse perspectives, appreciate when given the chance to pursue life, a career, and happiness, you're also given the tools to succeed, then keep DEI initiatives alive in your work environment, in your community, and in your life. Be bold, be revolutionary. Our ability to reach unity and diversity will be the beauty and the test of our civilization, because diversity is the mix and inclusion is making the mix work. Until next time, be revolutionary, be human.